trying to get online. So we can call the meeting to order. And then I know Tom set out the agenda for today. Is there anything else that anyone would like to add to the agenda? Oh, Jim's got his hand up.
That's about as formal as I get. Looking at maybe discussing the pickleball project.
Okay. Do you want to add that? It's listed under your staff delegations.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yep.
I don't have the thing.
Okay. Tom's ahead of you. Anyone else want to add anything? Okay. Would anyone like to go ahead and approve the agenda then for today?
I'll approve the agenda.
Okay, I see Linda's hand. Seconders, I saw Mark's hand, so I'll put you as a seconder. All in favor? Colleen and Paul, you guys might have to say yes or something like that because we don't see you.
Yes, for me.
Yes.
All right. So then any declarations of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof for today? All right. And then attached to the agenda were the minutes from our last meeting that we had September 10th. Was there any errors or omissions for that, Heather?
I just noticed that my name isn't appearing on the minutes, the last 3 meetings, and I'm wondering if that should be corrected, or is that just the way it is?
No,
Nope.
I'll correct that. Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We got to say that you're here when you're here.
Yes, I was very sad. No, I wasn't.
Any other amendments to the minutes? All right, would anyone like to go ahead to approve the minutes from our last meeting then?
I will.
Colleen, and a seconder? Linda? And then all in favor? All righty. Okay, so then we'll move on to staff delegations for today. And Jim, you get to go first. So Director of Parks and Recreation regarding path to travel at the front of Community Center parking lot, and then plans for the new pickleball courts.
Okay. The path of travel in front of the community center. I'm honestly not sure about that topic. Why I wasn't going to be a delegation on that. I don't think.
Sorry, Jim. Yeah, that was the idea of the one-way traffic flow at the front of the community center there that we kind of just briefly talked about it on the phone last week, I think.
Right.
It was an idea presented by Councillor Bateman at the last meeting.
Okay.
The thought process behind it, Jim, was when that arena's up and going on nights when the bingo's on and stuff, with two-way traffic, excuse me, and cars parked there, you've got minimal space. So I didn't know if there was any appetite or anybody want to have discussion around making it a little safer, especially when people are exiting, because under the COVID protocols, I think the bingo is they exit out the front, right? They don't have the option of going out the back, I believe. But I just didn't know if there want to be a discussion around trying to make that a little safer.
Okay. I guess my thought is I don't know how, since it's been this way for 40 years, how we're going to make it one way, so to speak. As I'm sitting here, I see people going both ways. So, perhaps someone from Public Works can have a look at it, who's knowledgeable in roads or at least parking lots, and let me know what we need.
Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, it's just gonna, one thing me and Jim kind of touched on was that accessibility wise, it actually might not lend to is the fact that it would require a lot of signage, and it actually might confuse the flow of people, or it could potentially confuse people to be which way do you enter, which way you leave in. I think it would require a lot of signage, so that's just one thing to consider, like from an accessibility standpoint on this topic, I would think.
Well, and has there been any complaints or incidences or anything like that in the past of that area?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay. I guess my brain goes to how much of it is an accessibility issue versus how much of it is something from Public Works to look at, or sidewalk, or not sidewalks, or parking lots to look at and go through council versus us. Does that make sense?
Yeah, perhaps even a sign, just says, pedestrian area, slow down. I don't know.
Does anyone else have any thoughts or opinions on that?
I agree with Jim. I think additional signage possibly with some education around it, because again, I look at the bingo, and if you look at the demographic, you do have, varying ages that go in there, and some that do have accessible requirements, and it is tricky, not all the time. And I don't always factor in how many times you've heard about an incident, because, unlike a factory where it's mandatory to report all near misses. Unfortunately, you don't get to hear all the near misses throughout the municipality because of, bad driving habits or whatever the case may be. You only hear about it when something actually happens where it has to be reported. If we
Right.
report misses, then it would probably be off the chart in some locations.
I guess where I'm coming from is it varies, when the time that people come in and leave. When the bingo's done, it's later in the evening, so there's very little traffic coming through.
Yep.
Even when they're coming in, they're parking and they're crossing, or they're being dropped off. So, like I said, I really never thought of it until Tom mentioned to me that it was on the agenda. It was never on my radar. I've never had anybody mention anything, but like I said, we can look at signage to encourage people to slow down and look for pedestrians. See how that works.
I think signage is similar to what you see at some of the fast food restaurants and drive-throughs, where they are warning even pedestrians to watch for vehicles to watch for pedestrians, because it's a two-way thing, right?
Right, and we can do that. We
Pedestrians
can post that inside by the doors, like the inside doors, put a sign there and just say, upon leaving, please, watch for traffic.
Yeah, because that is the hub of our community. When you think about it, you got tennis, you got curling, you got hockey, you have, you're going to be talking about it later. The pickleball. So at any given time, there's a lot of walking and a lot of traffic for those varying needs.
Right.
Tom?
So do you want to put that as a recommendation then, Councillor Bateman, to recommend council direct staff to put some sort of pedestrian safety signage or something like that?
Or word it that they look into the best. I don't want to pigeonhole them into a sign or something else. I'd rather leave it up to what they think is best.
So
I can look around Google, type in some, a few things and see what other places that are similar with similar entrances do.
Like just research and then maybe report back what best practices have been in other municipalities that might come in the same thing.
Sure.
That'd be all right, Counselor?
No, I think that's probably the best approach to take. If Jim, you're willing to do that, bring it back next
Oh, yeah.
meeting
Yeah.
and then forward.
So the only thing procedurally here is the committee can't tell Jim
Yeah.
what to do.
No,
So we'll have to, it'll have to be something to the nature of the committee recommend council, direct staff to investigate safety signage at the,
the possibility of safety signage at King Edward.
That's fine.
What if you say Jim mentioned that he could bring something back next month? Because you're not directing me, I'm suggesting it.
okay, let's do that. Thank you.
Something like that, right?
So no resolution. I'm just
Jim
going to make a
suggests-
note that that you've offered to report back. Okay.
Yes,
That's great.
yeah. I
Thanks.
offered to come back and with information.
That works.
Okay, thank you. And then, yeah, the other thing was the pickleball courts.
Well, I think anybody that's been looking at the news is aware that we had to move the pickleball location. And we've come up with the best location that we could under the circumstances. We're looking at putting that behind the lower ball diamond at King Edward Park. Now, it's far enough away from everything that, it won't preclude anybody as far as noise or there's parking here. That wasn't a complaint they had down at for Gosport. The only thing is it's far enough away that there will be some problems with accessibility to get there. There's a trail system that will get you three quarters of the way, but you're gonna, use that rubberized trail and you're gonna have to take the long way around to get to it. Shorter way is going to have to in the future need a trail system. So we're suggesting a 2-meter aggregate trail, hard packed. And so that's what we're going to be looking at in the future. You're probably looking about 300 feet. So I know talking with Tom, we're going to hopefully look for some funding, accessible funding to pay for that.
No, I think that sounds like a great idea, just to make sure there's that pathway to get there. Because otherwise, would they be walking just on grass?
Yeah, they'd be walking on grass. You'd basically be following the fence around the lower ball diamond, like the outfield fence, right around to get to behind it there where the new courts are going.
So would you like a motion from our committee to support the accessible walkway to the pickleball courts?
Sure.
Or-
Possibly suggest if there's funding available that we apply for it.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think I totally support that. I don't know, does anyone else on the committee have a comment or question about that? Mark?
Not a question about the pathways. I think that's a great idea and I know it'll get done. Jim, refresh me because I haven't been down to the lower canteen because it hasn't been in use. The washrooms that are down there now, are we going to have to sometime in the future look at those? And because I don't know if the stalls and stuff are the same as they would be inside, where they would be accessible in terms of width and stuff like that. I can't remember.
They are each washroom, the male and female washrooms each have an accessible
Okay.
stall. Yeah, well, the men's is only one stall and it's fully accessible. It's got the handrail and the doors extra width.
And if you don't know, Tom, you could probably tell us, you may know. for the locking system down there, I don't know if they're on auto locking system, so they unlock automatically, but they don't have the push button to open them automatically like the
No,
the Kappa, right?
no, they don't. They don't have the
Is there
push button.
anything in the Accessibility Act, any changes or date where doors like that will have to be, that we need to be aware of?
Not that I'm aware of.
Tom?
There's no specific date. It's any new construction.
Okay.
We are required to make it fully accessible.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so if we were to change the doors, door frames, we'd end up having to install that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's it.
Well, yeah, I'd fully support putting in a motion to say that the accessibility committee recommends that an accessible pathway be built from the parking lot to the new pickleball courts.
I'll support that as well.
Or are we advising to look for funding for that, or just putting the walkway in?
Well, it's one of those things, if we end up with some money left over in our pickleball budget,
Mhm.
we'll put it to, definitely put it towards that trail.
Okay.
And we'll see what we can do as far as that goes. I mean, obviously, if there is funding available for accessible walkways or what have you, we'll definitely apply.
You automatically look for funding anyways, though, don't you, Jim? Correct?
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's just, if the accessibility committee, some of the members have, their ins on whatever funding's coming out for this type of thing. You might hear it before I do.
Yep.
Right.
Okay. Well, I'll put that motion forward. Do you need anything else, Tom, for it?
No, that just to make sure I've got the right wording here, that this is what I had written, and you tell me if you want to add anything to it, Nicole. That the committee supports staff's recommendation to pursue funding to install an accessible pathway to access the new pickleball courts. And then what was your description of from the parking lot? Was it?
I had said from the parking lot, but I don't know.
It'll be from the rubberized trail, which is at the front of the canteen. From the canteen area to pickleball courts.
Does that work for you, Nicole?
Yep, that's good for me.
Okay.
Any seconders for that?
I will.
Colleen, and all in favor?
Yes.
All righty. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Jim.
Yep.
Next on our agenda, we have Economic Development Office to discuss promotional options for the 2022 Accessibility Awareness Week. So we have Ben Hagerman here, and then Caroline as well. So I'll let you guys introduce yourself. And then, yeah, I'm not sure how much Tom has discussed with you or plans or thoughts for any of those things.
I'll just quickly add before you get going there, Ben, that I think the idea was sort of this is more of a discussion, like back and forth, so that the idea of what you guys want to do, and then the economic development team there can figure out what might make sense for promotions.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm Ben Hagerman. Been with the municipality about 2 years now. I think we did a small project for you guys maybe last year this time with a video, went over pretty well, and scheduled all the other videos you guys had prepared. I think it was a good social media campaign to give recognition to the committee, as well as make people aware of accessibility issues in their own community. Caroline has been with us since about May. We got some really good funding, provincial funding, to take on an assistant to the department, and we've been able to keep her into the fall. And she has some really creative digital marketing ideas, and if you guys are looking to stay sort of in that realm of things with video and photography and social media and social outreach from a digital platform, then between the two of us, we can definitely help you out. If there's another angle you're looking at, whether it's more professional videography, that's very time consuming. We don't necessarily have all of the resources, editing resources, equipment to get into something like that. But we can definitely work with you on whatever you're thinking and give recommendations. So yeah, looking forward to anything we can help out with.
Well, then I think it's really important to think about more the digital side of things. I know traditionally, usually we've tried to do one educational awareness event every year. And in the past, we've done some where it's been sort of an obstacle course I shouldn't say obstacle course, but an activity for counselors or community members to do to simulate a disability so they can understand what it's like to navigate the post office or navigate the arena having a disability. We haven't done that in a number of years. We've done more just education awareness. We've done a few things involved with the schools as well. So I know when we were talking a few meetings ago, we had talked about I'm going back to my list here, thinking of more of a visual awareness focus. Like if you have a visual disability, how would you wayfind around the community? Looking at ramps, potentially linking with CNIB for a public awareness campaign. So yeah, that was sort of where our thoughts were a few meetings ago. I don't know if anyone else wants to jump in about ideas or things that they'd like to see happen. Usually Accessibility Awareness Week that we tend to follow is the last week of May. So that's where the videos we did last year sort of came from and moved to a digital format.
Right. Yeah, certainly if you guys want to look at the concept of visual awareness focus and come up with some sort of put yourself in our shoes sort of concept, whether it be council participation or just sort of figureheads in the community, we can do some stuff with video and photos to make some sort of campaign out of that. If that's an idea you're kind of gonna run with a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, Caroline, if you have anything off of that.
Yeah, I've seen a few campaigns similar to what you're talking about. And I think especially if you're going with kind of like the visual disability and highlighting that, I think I've seen campaigns online that do it through photography and they're able to edit the pictures like certain types of how someone with a visual disability would see, which could be very powerful in that people are, swiping through Instagram, Facebook, whatever, and they're met with this image. And all of a sudden they understand, what it feels like to not have or to have a visual disability. So I think that could be really powerful, posting those with some information about like throwing some statistics so it's educational, and then like resources in the area of organizations that are working with these people and other organizations and resources in the community, just to highlight them while giving that kind of visual punch through the image.
Mm-hmm.
Nicole, is the purpose of the week solely to raise awareness, or is there a certain goal that you're trying to reach, like some kind of potential funding goal? Or are you looking for money to fund a project or something like that? Or is it just simply making people aware of disability issues within our community?
It's the raising awareness piece, it's that public
Okay.
education piece.
Yeah,
As it's one of our goals on our committee to do something towards that route.
Okay, so yeah, so whatever the project may be, it's aimed at just bringing the potential of the disabled community to to the fore, and so that they can be seen.
Mhm.
And just provide areas of here's what barriers look like, and then here's what true accessibility looks like.
Mhm.
Is that somewhat
Yeah.
so that way all it is just, okay, if I was seeing impaired, this is what I'm looking for.
Mhm.
So it just provides information for somebody who doesn't know. It just provides them some awareness, and then we can go from there. So what happens after that? So because if somebody becomes aware, then the awareness part of the program needs to have some satisfaction there. They need to somewhere to go. I'm aware of this. How do I help? So it's not just make people aware, but now you have to have some results for them. You
Mhm.
have to have something for them to latch onto.
Mhm. Well, and
Right.
that's where linking with, CNIB, and that you
Yep.
could volunteer with CNAB, or, reducing the clutter in your store of, I always remember former chair, trying to remember her name.
Liz
Liz,
Greenhill.
yes. She always talked
Yeah.
about how hard some of even the displays in the middle of the aisles were, because she had a
right.
hard time seeing those.
Right.
So it's just, it's increasing that awareness, but then, what can people do?
And then, so at that point, would then the committee be able to provide recommendations for those people and any sort of maybe volunteer resources to help them out? Because it becomes that's how we would complete the education process.
Mhm. Mhm.
Is for, I need help doing this.
Mhm.
Who can help me now? And then I can do what is necessary for that person to enter my store.
Mhm.
Right?
Yep. Tom?
Yeah, I was just going to add, just in case anyone's not aware, this is actually an international event, Accessibility Awareness Week. So there's actually a push from, I think it's UNICEF. Is it UNICEF that, or
I know there's two different
UNESCO?
dates.
Something
There's
like
one in
that.
December that's, I think, an international, and then I think the one in May is national, but I could be wrong.
Okay, I think you're right. The National Accessibility Awareness Week. So that's a Canadian sort of
Mhm.
push. And
Yeah.
then there's the Accessibility Day or something like that in
December.
Yeah, you're
I
right.
think it's May 30th to June 5th.
Yep. And then I was also going to add, just for information, that there is money allotted in the budget for advertising for these types of projects that this committee would go through, which is $2,250. So that's kind of information, I guess, for the economic development team there to get a scope of what could be accomplished.
What would your guys' recommendations be from the economic development side for, like, is it better? I'm just thinking conceptually, is it better to do an actual like videoing part, like if we're going to do simulating visual disability and doing some video of that, is it better to do that ahead of time and then put it together into a video that's released the week of? Or is it something that can be done live on the day, like on the Monday of the week, and then shared throughout the week of clips of that day? Does that make sense?
Yeah, like if you got into a minute and a half, sort of put together a video, maybe you took a step above us and used a videographer, and we helped organize that and get the shots you wanted. You know, you're getting pretty pricey, but the product would be really, really, really good. Now, we don't do a lot of Facebook lives, Caroline. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with Facebook lives, but you could do a Facebook live and get some really cool in the moment kind of stuff. If you leveraged partners of visual aid, groups or whatever, you could actually do like a full-on minute and a half interview at a facility of one of ours, private business. Not sure how that all works, and kind of go through barriers that people maybe without physical disabilities don't think about. And you can have someone from the community with a physical with a vision barrier, vision disability in the video, sort of discussing things. I don't know. That's just one thing that wouldn't be one idea that wouldn't be a major hit on your budget. And then you could maybe use, maybe you could leverage more of your budget towards sort of powerful imagery rather than spending it all on a video. I don't know, just one idea. And so you would do that Facebook Live, do it at the start of the week, and then you could roll imagery the rest of the week. But I don't know, there's lots to unpack there, lots to talk about. I'll let Caroline maybe throw out an idea or two if she wants.
Yeah, the only thing about video is that it's engaging for the first 15 seconds for most people, and then they keep scrolling. So if you're going to put, sink a lot of money into a video, I'm not necessarily, like a minute and a half video, I'm not necessarily sure you're going to be reaching the amount of people you want to if you were to do kind of like a short, punchy visual campaign where it's like they see it, they know it, they got it, and they move on, and it's like a quick thing, because people, like, there's no attention span online, as we know. I do like the idea of a Facebook Live. I think that's fun, and we've never done that before. The only thing you have to kind of consider with that is that you're kind of you arrive at the issue of you only kind of reach those who are online at that moment. Yeah. So we have an idea of like when people are online and when they're on our page. So we could give you like a good window of time when it would be appropriate, where we would be reaching the most people we can. But that's just something to consider. But I do like the idea of the Facebook Live. I think that could be really, really cool.
And then, if you did that at the start of the week, we found a good soft spot of when we think we have a lot of engagement. Typically, Caroline, 5 p.m., 6 p.m. seems to be. Then if you did that, say 5 p.m. Monday evening, 6 p.m. Monday evening, the rest of the week you could run, like I said, that powerful imagery through photo and really good captions that Caroline and I could help out with. Well, who am I kidding? Probably Caroline. So that would be really, I think, a really good campaign. But you said this is until May. So maybe some of these conversations are sparking some ideas within the committee right now. and maybe, you bring us back in January or February, and we can really nail down a plan. I don't know what your time crunch is, but that's sort of how I see it. Like if it's a Facebook Live, that's a simple storyboard exercise that we get the right people in the room and we shoot it. Is in terms of the photo, we would need to put a plan in place. Maybe we can do it in-house with our amazing new iPhones. Maybe we can hire someone with some of your budget. We just need to know the content that you're looking for that will really be powerful to display visual disability and awareness.
The CNIB might be someone good to talk to, just because I think that's the campaign I saw it through. I mean, I can edit photos, but I would want it done in a way that was accurate, not just me guessing of what filters were being used. So they might be a good resource to reach out to, just to see, if that's possible. If we can give them photos of our community, so it's, it resonates with people like, okay, I'm looking at the arena, but I'm not looking at the arena because this isn't how I see, and this is how someone with a visual impairment would see.
Yeah.
And then it's more of, again, the powerful, like you understand it because it's your community.
Yes,
Yeah.
they were on my list to contact to sort of talk about ideas with. But I know, in the past, how many, 8 years ago, I think they would come and they would have special glasses that you could put on.
Right.
And wear throughout the community. But yes, it's much more a digital age now, where the budget's not going to go towards a newspaper ad for an event. It's probably going more towards something visual that people can see.
Yeah. Like there's something so simple like say King Edward Park Arena in the lobby there, like there's kind of there's the structural beams that are sort of throughout the lobby. Like anyone with a visual impairedness, like that could be problematic, right? Like just so like displaying that. There's obviously there's tons of examples if you go into private buildings. I'm not sure how that would work, like grocery shopping, things of that nature, but maybe we'd have to keep it to either the library, the arena. I don't know, but that's for you guys to come back to me with.
It's always something that we could even approach the DBIA or something like that to see if anyone's interested in partnering with us and doing, one clip there at a store or something like that. Mark?
I was going to say when we're talking about the visual impairment, I would definitely say COVID has highlighted throughout all municipalities, communities, and businesses a gap in helping them, because everything around COVID is signage. And if you have a vision impairment, you can't see the signage that says only 4 people in the lobby, 6 feet back, and everything else.
That's a great example. Yeah.
We have our post office here in town, and I spoke to a gentleman that ran into that has vision impairment, and had the staff member saying, you have to wait out in the lobby, can't you read the sign? And the response was, no, I can't. So that has been a gap, and it's probably all across the country, because that's not something, the panic of COVID, you had to get the signs up, the social distance and this and that. But when you have the vision impairment, you can't see how many people are in a store. I did see some stores, and it doesn't help those with the vision impairment, but the one store did. They had a buzzer system, and some have the green light, red light on the door, but that doesn't help with the vision impairment. Like, we got to start thinking outside the box, because for the COVID stuff, that might be around for a long time. So it's going to play into accessibility going forward, because I think our protocols, to a certain extent, are going to be here for a long time. So that angle, definitely for the vision impairment.
It's even hard, like if you're looking to get into a store or like a coffee shop or something, and the windows are tinted.
Yeah.
Like someone with no vision impairment, right? Like you're looking, you open the door, you start walking in because you couldn't see through the window, and there's more than, you kind of get sent back outside. Like it's not easy.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I guess another thought too is it just vision that we want to look at, or do we want to look at, you know, hearing as well and other things as well? Or do we just want to, is there enough content? And I guess talking to CIBC might really help with that one, to just do vision this year, or do we want to add on other things as well?
I was just gonna say, I think if you wanted to do like more, I think what could be really powerful is, you know, Facebook and Instagram tend to be highly visual content. So I think that kind of speaks to that. But if you wanted to highlight other disabilities on like our Twitter feed and kind of like mix in other things that don't necessarily rely on the visual component as much, that could be an option. The Twitter campaign that we did last year for you guys, I think Ben had that, we did that in May when I first started, and that went over pretty well. Like people were responding and, you know, engaging in those tweets. So that could be a possibility.
Mm-hmm. Does anyone else have any other thoughts or things they want to bring up from the committee? Okay, so what it sounds like, I know from my end, I'll reach out with CNAB and talk with them just to sort of ideas and even we can work on a framework ourselves. And then maybe once we have a framework, we can have you, Ben, and Carolyn,
Right, Caroline
come back maybe in the winter time and sort of make a more formal plan, and I'll write it out. So then we can hit the ground running for the spring to get ready for the end of May.
Yeah,
Okay.
that sounds like a great plan.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you guys so much for your expertise in that. As we said, in the past, it's always been very either in person or, you know, newspaper ads and things like that. Whereas, yeah, we're growing to add the digital age to things. So that's good.
Yeah, I hope it was worth it to have us in, and we can help you out later on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. All right. Next on our agenda is business. 6.1 is Accessibility Awareness Week planning. So I didn't know if we wanted to have more discussion on the planning that we talked about the last one, or do we think we have enough and then we can move on to the next agenda item? What do you guys think?
I kind of put that as like a tag on the, just in case there was anything that came out of the economic development team's ideas that, you know, warranted further discussion from the committee. But we are pretty preliminary here, so even at this stage with that discussion, I feel like we've got some ideas to start really, you know, tumbling around up there for for the next month or two, kind of thing. But
yeah,
entirely up to you guys.
Are we okay to move on? Okay, all right. We'll move on to 7.1 then, which is library update from Heather.
So I don't have too much to report this month, just that on October 1st, we introduced cognitive care kits into our collection, and that's part of our dementia-friendly resources. And the woman from the Alzheimer's Society of Hastings, Prince Edward, that did the presentation at our last meeting, she is going to help us spread the word about these resources that we have. We think it'll be a slow go at first, but once some restrictions lift, we're hoping to have some outreach to community groups to let them know these kits are here, and to let people come in and have a look at them, and sort of like a petting zoo idea. So that's our plan for the future.
And what's included in the cognitive care kit?
So we have 7 kits. They're all in plastic totes, and there's games, puzzles, activities of varying degrees and levels. So Some kits might not be appropriate for some levels of dementia, and some might be. So it would be a bit of a trial and error, I think. And it's just meant to engage people living with dementia and hopefully help them keep busy, do something that they enjoy, and maybe even help with depression, which is a huge issue with people living with dementia. So we will see how that goes. They go out just like any other normal library collection. They go out for 3 weeks. They can be renewed. And the Happy Quilters of Brighton made fiddly blankets for us and donated those. They're included in each kit. And due to the pandemic, we're saying that the person that checks them out may keep the blanket, and the Happy Quilters will give us more. So we always have one in each kit. So we think that's great. Any other questions about the kits? All right. The other thing was that when Sandy and Linda came to the library and did the tour, Linda suggested that she was looking at the emergency exits that we have. We have 2 of them on the south side of the library. And she mentioned that if she was on the south side and she's riding a scooter and she can't get out the main doors, both of our emergency exits are not accessible. There's stairs, or there's the emergency exit that goes out to the back of the building. It's just not accessible. So she mentioned that Sharp Road has ramps that can convert non-accessible into something that is accessible. So I've referred this to our health and safety rep here at the library to take to the next health and safety meeting. And I'm hoping that maybe we can try out those ramps and see if that's something we should actually have on site for us.
That's a really good point, because I know a lot of places don't think about the accessibility of the emergency exits. But then, yes, I know I remember at the high school having that issue where if students needed to get out, they would have to go all the way around the whole rectangle to get to an accessible emergency exit. But yeah, the ramps are great, but it depends on how many stairs there are. If there's more than 1 or 2 stairs, the portable ramps don't often really cover them, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Linda, for recommending that. And I think that's everything from my end.
Okay, awesome. Any other comments or anything from for Heather? Tom?
Yeah, just thinking maybe a similar recommendation as with for Jim there, to have the committee support the library CEO's recommendation to look into acquiring the ramps for the accessible or for the emergency exits. Just a little extra support for you when you're doing your reporting and stuff like that, Heather.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. I'd support that. And even, do we need to say ramps, or do we need to say looking into the accessibility of the fire escapes?
Sure.
Because yes, I know for some areas where there's lots of stairs, you can actually get fire safe, either like a wheelchair or something to help carry people out if that needs to happen.
Right.
So there's other options than just the ramps.
Okay. So maybe something like the committee supports staff's recommendation to investigate improvements to accessibility of emergency exits at the library.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, that sounds good. And I don't mind putting that motion forward. Do we have any seconders?
I would second it.
Linda? And all in
Yes.
favor for that?
In
Okay.
favor.
All right. No, and thank you for having some community members go through the library to look at those parts.
Yes, it was very helpful. Thank you.
The next thing on the list is accessibility concerns from the public. I don't know if anyone has any concerns that they've heard, or Tom, have you had anything come
Oh, I
through?
touched it and did the wrong thing. So I guess I had touched it.
No, I haven't received anything myself.
Okay. Does anyone have any comments? Heather?
Has there been any improvement in the lobby washroom here at 35 Alice?
Sorry, I did want to provide that update.
Oh,
Thanks
you touched
for
that, Tom.
reminding me. So unfortunately, when I did reach out to the operations office, I found out that the manager who would have been coordinating that has left the municipality, unfortunately. So there's going to be a little bit of a gap until I can address that with the appropriate staff, but still on my list.
Any other concerns or issues that people have come across in the last little bit?
Oh, Linda.
Mhm.
Hello.
Hi, Linda. Oh, you're on mute, Linda.
Sorry.
There you go.
Okay.
Carry on.
I had to ask the administration person at the municipality to look into a box that's in front of the door at the medical center. I know Lakeshore, Lakeview Medical Center, because it's in front of the door for the button to get in accessible this past week. And we found out, she even was there when I was there at my appointment, that the box is attached to the ground in front of the door, but it really needs to be moved. The only way I could get into the medical center was to touch the button with my cane. Good thing I had my cane with me. And the inside button has always been in the wrong place. But I understand. I said to her that I understand that they were going to put new sliding doors there. But she said, yeah, not right away. So I did, because I couldn't get a hold of the medical center to move that box. It's a Life Labs box, and they have it attached to the ground so that it doesn't get taken away, I guess. But she's going to ask the municipality workers to move it to the side, beside the entrance to go in, so that door isn't blocked. So that's what happened this week. So the municipal office person, administration person, was very helpful. I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
And I think that's a municipal building, isn't it? The municipality owns that building? Yeah. Okay.
I believe so. That's why I
Yeah.
called them when I couldn't get a hold of the people inside, because I called I tried to call the Friday, but of course they're closed at noon. And I was trying to think of how to get something done before the Monday for my appointment. But the box didn't get moved, but she's concerned about it being attached in front of a door too. The doors should both be able to be open, and you can't do that. So yeah, she's going to look into it and have it moved to the side. It'll still be under the roof of the building. It's still be in a place where it's easy for the driver to pick it up, because often they get picked up when the medical center isn't open. That's why they have it outside.
Mhm.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, I'm not sure if there's anything else that we can do about that. It sounds like you did your due diligence and talked about it, but we can keep an eye on it. And then I guess we can also keep encouraging changing the doors there for that building, so
Yes.
that the buttons aren't such a big deal for where they are.
Oh, well, if you can't get there, they are a big deal.
Yep, yep.
It's on the wrong side of the door. It's way over there, and you're trying to come into this door.
Mhm.
Well,
By the
if
time
you
you
have,
hit the button and come back to the door,
you can't
door's
get through the
closing.
door. Yeah, I've just been lucky over the years that there's been somebody coming or going that can touch that button for me so I can get into the building.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I've been lucky that way. Yeah, thanks. Now, what do I touch?
Is there anything else? Any other concerns that people have heard or want to bring forward? Okay. Next thing on the agenda is number 9, correspondence. Do we have any correspondence, Tom?
Nothing from my end.
Okay. All right. So the next thing is our next meeting date, which would be the second weekend in November. So that would be November 12th. Is that okay with everybody at 10 o'clock?
Yep.
And at this point, as some of you found out this morning, our meetings will be on Zoom until further notice, just to limit traffic into 35 Alice Street. I guess it's the CEO and mayor made that decision the end of September. So we will stay on Zoom for now. And then once we can get back into in-person meetings, we'll let you know. I know for my plan for the next meeting, I usually do up a summary at the end of the year, sort of what we worked on and accomplishments. So I'll try and have that done for November. And then it's something that can go to within our minutes to council. And I know usually the budget's attached to that, but we already did, I think, budget the last meeting too. So yeah. All right. I guess the last thing left to do is adjourn. Would anyone like to do that? I will. And Colleen. All right. All in favor for that? Okay. All right. There we go. Well, thank you all very much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks, everybody.
Thank you.